Hello and welcome to Jedi Enclave. I'm Daniel.
I'm Chris.
This is our second time starting to stream today. It's a great day.
Yes.
And what are we doing here? We talk about Star Wars. Star Wars and other nerdy things that we enjoy.
Star Wars and Star Wars accessories.
Yeah. A lot of what we're doing today is Andor, but we're going to get into dragon incest and She-Hulks and elves a little bit later.
Elves and dwarves.
Yeah. And
whatever the fucking Andor is.
Yeah. Well, I have thoughts about that.
Okay.
Also, Battlefront stream directly after this at 7 o'clock p.m. Central. That will be a ton of fun. And then I think that's pretty much. Oh yeah, special thanks to our buddy Connor over at the Star Wars Hub and Star Wars Veritas. He's been on this kick lately. I wonder if he knows that we talk about him so much during our live shows, because like we don't talk super often. Like we'll message each other every once in a while, but I don't think he knows that we talk about him this much on our show. But he is, like, the last couple of weeks he's been like really into Kit Fisto jokes, but they're Kit Fisto fisting jokes.
That's what I would expect.
Yeah, and he's been all about it.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, so thanks, Connor. thanks for your Kit Fisto memes. And let's see, what else are we?
I think that's everything.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's going to be.
We don't have any watch along schedule until Andor finishes.
Right.
So
yeah.
That would be the only other thing.
Right. We'll be doing our recap here as well.
Yeah.
Let's do like two little bitty news things while we wait for people to come in. So why don't you tell me about this thing?
So about a day or two ago, I think I'm confused by the flow of space time.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds went on Twitter and some other places and put out this video, very tongue-in-cheek, announcing that, hey, we're working on Deadpool 3 and it's going to be great. I just couldn't come up with any ideas. But you know, he's sitting in his house and there's someone walking up the stairs like, hey, Hugh Jackman, you want to be Wolverine again? Hugh Jackman's like, yeah, sure, whatever, Ryan.
Yeah. It's like the most Ryan Reynolds thing in the world too. The interesting thing about that is, like, everyone was pretty sure that after Logan, that Hugh Jackman was just going to be done with Wolverine and that whole thing.
Well, yeah, that was kind of the point of Logan, that it was just like his
swan song,
his last time in the role and that character's last story.
Yeah.
Which, have you ever seen Logan?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters.
Yeah, good.
It was I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's a brilliant movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little sacrosanct here. I do not love X-Men. And I have not loved the X-Men movies. But that particular movie I thought was incredibly well made and well acted and very emotional, and it was great.
Yeah.
And then
just today, actually, they put out a follow-up where it was, again, very tongue-in-cheek, where it was Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman sitting on his couch, like, we're going to tell you what happens, and they start talking, like, gesturing wildly, and it plays the Wake Me Up Before You Go the whole time. Yeah. I actually saw someone on YouTube did an amateur lip reading of what was happening, and it was just like, and I pull out my swords and he's stabbing and he's stabbing and and there's this huge explosion and blah blah blah. So they didn't actually give away any plot details. They were just like doing what we do, basically.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I think the only other notable news thing is apparently I can't remember his name. James Earl Jones is retiring from Star Wars, and though he hasn't like come out and like given I'm officially retiring, but he has signed over the rights to all of his archival footage from his career to Disney. Because he's getting a little too old to be Darth Vader.
Yeah, and like you can tell.
Right.
The last couple times in like Rogue One, and then
Rogue One was the particularly noticeable one because so Rogue One, he sounded like an 88-year-old, or however old he is. Yes. Like, he sounded very old. However, in Obi-Wan, they used some of the AI technology that they're going to be using pretty much from this point on with his archival recordings, where it sounded a lot more like the Prime era Vader, right? Yeah. So, that makes sense, and it's not like they're ever going to find anyone who's going to do Vader justice like James Earl fucking Jones does. So, good. It's cool that he's like, yeah, this is a really big part of like my voice is a really big part of popular culture, even still as this one character. So, here are the rights to all my, just make sure when I die my kids get some money. So, and then Andor episode 4 had its fourth episode today.
Just diving right into that.
Let's do it because we still we're gonna do that. We still got House of the Dragon to talk about. We're talking about She-Hulk a little bit. So let's get in. Let's go balls deep. Let's go.
Spoiler warning.
Oh yeah.
Andor came out literally this morning. We are talking about episode 4, which premiered this morning. If you have not seen it yet, we are not judging your life. You have a very busy schedule, I'm sure. But you should probably stop watching the stream and go watch that.
Yeah.
Because we're going to spoil literally everything about the episode. And this is not the way you want to experience it for the first time.
And we are keeping an eye on the chat as well. So if you're here live and you want to say hi, please feel free to put that in the chat. Also, make sure to
like the page, share the stream, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All those internet-y things.
Let's go. Let's do it.
So, episode 4, titled Aldhani.
Mm-hmm.
When last we left our heroes, Cassian Andor had just left the planet Ferrix and, all the friends and family he had in the company of Luthen, a mysterious junk dealer? ? He bought things from Cassian's friend who was a mechanic.
I always thought of him as like a smuggler.
Well, yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
A mysterious smuggler ?
Whatever he's doing is definitely not legal.
Yeah. So we enter on Luthen's ship. Luthen is flying around doing all this crazy shit. He's telling his droid to calculate the hyperspace jump to Aldhani, wherever the fuck that is. And he's telling Cassian over shoulder, there's a medical kit back there. Fucking tie up that wound on your arm where you got shot.
The thing that's really interesting about this is, and the reason that Cassian is so shocked and surprised is that droid makes the calculation for hyperspace almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
And that, if you remember back to the original Star Wars, there was a whole chase scene where TIE fighters were going after the Millennium Falcon while he was trying to calculate.
Yeah.
So it's that's not a thing that takes a millisecond and then you go. So also he talked about, I think he addressed, he mentioned Fondor again.
Yes.
And that ship came from Fondor and everything.
Mm-hmm. And he had flown ships like that of that type, and they've never been able to do that.
It's a pretty ship, by the way.
Yeah,
I really like
very
it.
Cool. Cassian was very surprised and asks Luthen how the fuck he got his ship to do that. Also, where the fuck is Aldhani? Where the fuck are we going?
Yeah.
Luthen says, all right, look, we got you off Ferrix. The way I see it, you got two options. You can either I can drop you off somewhere and you can just keep running and eventually the Empire's going to catch up and you'll get arrested and shot, or you can come with me and we can do something to fuck up the Empire.
Yeah.
Optionally, comedy option number 3 is you try to kill me and take my ship, but we both know that's not going to happen.
You can try to kill me and take my ship, but you're going to get punked. Don't do that.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Cassian's okay.
I've already planted explosives on you. So
he's great. I will take the drop off and we can just go our separate ways. Luthen's come on, dude. I know you. You don't really want to just you want to fuck up the Empire, right?
This is a great conversation. Actually, first of all, it's a summary of the conversation they have in the previous episode about you can do this little league or you can do this major league.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you want to do? And he's talking about how there was a particular line in there that was well, that's really neat, especially after we learned more about him, but. He's talking about how, he only knows about him what people have told him, but he uses his imagination to do the rest. And it's because I watched the beginning of this twice because John came home and started watching it, and then I realized that there's a lot of common thread between them. And after you get us introduced to that whole concept with Luthen, because he's a really interesting character. I'll expand a little bit more on that.
Daddy Skarsgård, as we said last time.
He might be my favorite part of the show so far.
He's really good. Cassian's all right, so you say you know me, well I know you. You're either Alliance, Sep, Guerrilla, or Partisan Front, and all of those.
Well, Saw Gerrera.
All of those equate to the same basic thing, which is that you're a freaking idiot who thinks you can take on the whole Empire yourself.
And you like to blow things up.
Yeah.
And which is very clearly obvious.
Luthen's dude, I get it. You and I both are not fans of the Empire here, but wouldn't it be better to do something that actually hurts them rather than just stealing a trinket here and there? Cassian's like, no, this is fucking crazy. Like, no one can take on the Empire. Like, I was on Mimban when I was 16. I was fighting a war for 2 fucking years. And at the end, it turns out the Empire just had us fighting ourselves, and there was no fucking point to it.
Yeah.
Luthen's like, well, actually, you were only, like, in the front lines fighting for, like, 6 months. The rest of the time, you were a fucking cook.
Yeah.
And you...
His intel on Cassian is pretty good.
You survived because you ran away,
Yeah.
not because you're some big fucking war hero.
Yeah.
He's like I studied you, I looked you up, and also then I like extrapolated a little. Like, you fucking hate the Empire.
Yeah. I took a little stroll through your Twitter feed.
Yeah.
Like, I know everything I need to know about you.
He's like, I didn't come here for the box. Fuck the box. We don't even care about the box. I came here for you because you have the combination of skills and like fucking hating the Empire that's going to make my plans more successful. So here's the deal. I'm going to offer you a job. It's 5 days, extremely dangerous, but if you do it for me, I'll give you 200,000 credits. And Cassian's like,
that's a lot of credits.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, what's the job? And Luthen's like, we're going to steal the payroll for an entire Imperial sector.
Now, to put this into perspective, for the MacGuffin he was giving him, that he's trying to sell him in the earlier episode, he was going to give him like 40,000 for it, and he was like,
yes,
that's
I'll
so
take
much,
it.
yeah,
Good,
so
perfect.
much, yeah.
Meanwhile, on Coruscant, at the Imperial Security Bureau's...
Oh, what a cool looking building,
Yeah.
dude.
I was actually really fascinated because like the shots of Coruscant we see are very unlike the Coruscant that we see in the prequels, at least to
How
my
so?
eyes. Because it Coruscant in the prequels is very like shiny and almost neon colored, and like the really tall buildings are kind of spaced far apart.
Yeah.
Whereas the Coruscant we see in this episode is like more concrete, I guess.
Yeah,
more, like dusty and dirty.
It
and, like,
looks
the buildings
right.
are packed about as close together as like a modern city.
Yeah, I get that actually. That's it. Also looks, and I'm not trying to shit on George Lucas here. It looks a lot less CG.
Sure.
It looks like actually. And also the thing that I really appreciated is that you could, where like if you were doing a drone flyover of New York City, you could look down between the rows of buildings and see the sidewalk.
Yeah.
But since it's Coruscant and that goes down for miles and miles,
You just see emptiness.
Yeah, it's a really neat little detail.
So the Imperial Security Bureau, all their sector supervisors are having this big meeting.
Yeah, these guys are insane, by the way.
Yeah.
If you don't know anything about the Imperial, they're the ISB.
They're the secret police.
They're the KGB. Yeah, they're insane, and a lot of what they do, they do a lot because of the KGB.
Yeah.
But like one really important thing they do is loyalty tests for fellow Imperial officers.
Yeah.
So like if you're not Imperial enough, they will fucking find you.
So their boss, Major Partagaz, is this like serious hard ass. Like you will turn in all your paperwork on time, and every line will be filled out, and every I will be dotted and T will be crossed.
Yes, this guy was played by a famed character actor who played Qyburn in the Game of Thrones series, who is a fantastic part of the story, and one of the reasons he's so good is the character's really creepy, but he's also a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
And this cool thing I like about this guy is that most of the time when you think about Imperial officers or people who are higher up, you think that they're bumbling idiots.
Yeah.
This guy clearly is not a bumbling idiot.
So like one of the officers giving a report, the Ryall sector is blah 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 blah, and he's like, yeah, but did you fill out your paperwork?
Yeah.
Well, there was no.
it was a little that part was a little bit more. It doesn't matter to the story, but it wasn't necessary because he's not just a basic pencil pusher.
No, he's serious about this.
Yeah, there was something about that memo. Part of the reason they're having trouble was because of this memo or something.
Yeah. Then he goes to another guy and says blah, 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 something about, but you didn't finish the memo about the recommendations, but what we're supposed to do about it. And you know what? Fuck you. We're just gonna have someone else write that memo. Let's keep going. Guys, does anybody here, can you tell me what our purpose is? Like, why are we here? What does the ISB do? And from across the room, eager puppy Lieutenant Deidre reads the boilerplate answer right out of the textbook. We are the Imperial Security Bureau. We, analyze things and find threats and you covert operations.
We're the bad guys.
Yeah. He's like, yes, that is exactly the answer out of the textbook, and it is also completely wrong.
Yes, and also fuck you, you're wrong.
It's like, we are not, like, security is an illusion. Security is bullshit. It doesn't exist. We are a healthcare provider.
Which, by the way, they must be literally an American healthcare provider. That's the first thing I thought when he's like, we are a healthcare provider. And it's like, in America, right?
Yeah.
Because that makes sense.
Like, we find the symptoms, we treat them, we are diagnosing and finding ways to treat the illnesses.
And then we bill them 20 times the cost of treatment.
Yes.
And then put everyone into poverty.
Exactly. Now then, Lieutenant Blevin.
America. Sorry.
Lieutenant Blevin. Well, what's the deal with all this bullshit on Ferrex? And Blevin's like, well, corporate security, those fucking jagoffs were trying to find this guy.
Some guy named Deputy Tryhard. I don't know.
Like he took a whole squad in there. He lost 4 dudes and killed a civilian. We did find his box though, and Dedra's like, hey, wait a second. That box, and like she's typing on her iPad.
I'm looking for a box.
So like, hey, there's a box that was stolen from my sector. Meanwhile, back on Luthen's ship, he's landed on Aldhani, which just so happens to be the Scottish Highlands.
Yeah. Another shot where they clearly are not in the volume at ILM. Like they shot that on location.
Mm-hmm. So like Cassian is shaving because he's
with his fucking like I'm gonna kill you knife. Yeah.
Like the knife he pulls out of his boot.
Yeah. It's like, all right, you're a badass. I get it.
Luthen's like, all right, what's your name? Because you can't use your real name. So what's your name? And Cassian's like, Clem.
Yeah, I was really waiting for him to be like Fassian or like something that sounded just like his name. I guess Clem works.
Luthen's like, all right, great.
Clemsian.
For the next 5 days, you're Clem. And this woman comes walking down the hill towards them. Luthen's like, all right, so she's the boss. And Cassian's like, I thought you were the boss. And he's like, no, she's the boss.
Yeah.
Tell you what,
I'm not even technically here.
Like, she's really gonna be upset about this whole thing. Like, she like, I'm gonna go talk to her. You should just stay here so that she doesn't like
stay out of sight. She might shoot us both.
So that she doesn't freak the fuck out. And
by the way, this character is played by another Game of Thrones famous character called the Waif, who is part of the Faceless Men cult, and is a big antagonist to Arya Stark for a whole season, and then fucking Arya Stark kills her, and it's great. She's so annoying. I
feel like half the cast of Game of Thrones gets killed by Arya.
Yeah, that particular way. Maybe we'll talk about it during the Battlefront stream. It's pretty fucking great.
Before he goes, Luthen's like, all right, look, I'm gonna give you a down payment on your mission fee. So here's this my pendant thing. This is a Kuwati signet.
That's we're getting into deep cut Star Wars territory.
It's like half kyber crystal, half some sky thing.
The next part's the really interesting part.
Made to commemorate the uprising against the Rakatan invaders.
Yes, and if you've played,
that's a deep cut.
Yes, if you've played, or is it KOTOR 2? I think, right?
Yep.
Is it the second one?
It was the first one.
Okay.
Because the first one is where you go to Rakata Prime at the end.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's like the fact that they're officially making this a part of Star Wars lore.
Well, a species called the Rakatans.
As much as Disney does when they pull something in. So like in the old lore, they pretty much invented hyper speed. Yeah. Right. And then they go and conquer.
And then they were the first major galactic empire. Luthen's like, all right, so like, don't take less than 50,000 credits for this thing because it's really fucking valuable. But also, I'm gonna want it back after your mission, so you're not allowed to fucking die.
Yeah.
And but when you finish, I'll give you your 200,000, and I promise. And, yeah. So Luthen steps off and talks to this woman whose name is Vel. Vel's like, yeah, the Imperials are stepping up security. It took me a whole fucking day to walk down here. It was a big pain in the ass. Luthen's like,
thankfully I brought a walking stick.
Yeah. Like, Luthen's like, I'm really glad that you guys are taking this seriously and that you're being careful about lookouts.
Constant vigilance. Yeah. Oh wait, that's the wrong
wrong
fandom.
Guy,
yeah. Oh, wow.
So Cassian is like watching their conversation out the cockpit. And like kind of glances over at the controls. Like you can tell he's thinking about
there for a moment. He's like, "Oh, I could totally steal this ship right now."
And Luthen's droid kind of swivels over and like looks at him and is like, "Is there something I can help you with?"
Yeah, that droid's like, "I'm fucking onto you, bro."
Cassian's like, "No, nothing. Yeah. Definitely not planning to hijack this ship." Luthen's like, look, this guy is a great shot. He's a great pilot. He speaks like 17 different languages.
He's pretty much the
like,
CIA.
He can walk into an Imperial base and walk out and no one's the wiser.
He's Jason Bourne.
Yeah. And Vel's like, he's fucking, like, it's 3 days before we go in, and you're hiring a fucking mercenary to do this? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's an interesting point, was that she's, out of all of the things that she's upset about, she is most upset about the fact that the people that they're with her are believers.
Yes.
So I think she said they've been eating roots and sleeping on rocks for months. And
for 5 months, they've been planning this operation.
And here comes Cassian, who isn't necessarily a believer, is just being paid to be
waltzes in, is getting paid a fortune to do this. And Luthen's like, all right, look, we really need this operation to work. Like, it is actually critical to the greater rebellion. And, like, you said yourself you didn't have enough people to do this, so now I'm showing up with another person to help you do this. Like, fucking, your choices are to either take him and do the job or give up and go home.
Well, because he said, like, I was coming to shut you down anyway.
Yeah.
So,
but he just happened to happen upon Cassian.
Yeah.
He's like, look, you go in 3 days. Either you get your shit together, have everything ready to go, and you do the plan and you do it right, or you figure out, like, okay, one of these people isn't going to do their job, and we need to shut it all down and go home.
Yeah.
Vel's like, well, what happens if your new guy's the problem? Luthen's like, just fucking shoot him.
Yeah.
he's a mercenary.
Just
we
kill
don't
him.
Care.
I mean,
yeah. Vel's like, all right, fine. I guess we'll take him. Luthen, introduces Clem to come off the ship. They start walking away while Luthen is leaving. Back on Morlana, corporate security is being shut down. ISB agents are
they are in so much trouble.
They're they're dumping Chinese takeout containers in the trash cans.
Well, did you notice that in the first episode, one of his like underlings was eating blue noodles out of a takeout thing? Yeah.
Like, Morlana corporate security did not take their jobs very seriously.
They're mall cops. They're pretty much mall cops. Also, Jamie, I see your comment. We're gonna get to that. Because that's some Easter egg stuff. But Jimmy says, imagine if we get a scene that's supposed to be Palpatine's, in Palpatine's office on Coruscant, because we know his office is in the Jedi Temple, and he has a Windu saber at his desk. That'd be a good way in Easter eggs to let viewers know he's dead. No more surviving theories. No.
I mean, we know he's dead because he got launched out of a fucking 1,000-story window.
Look, they could have Sam Jackson, like a model of Sam Jackson's withered head on his desk, and people would still be making theories about how Mace Windu's still alive.
Yeah. So ISB agents are clearing out Morlana security. Lieutenant Blevin, who's the guy in charge of this sector, is like sitting behind the boss's desk, and he's got like the boss, the Sergeant Mosk, and Detective Hardass up there. He's like, okay, you guys are the biggest bunch of fuck ups I have
you
ever
are
seen.
such idiots.
You're so bad at your job.
You had one job, not to piss me off.
You had to go to Ferrix and arrest one dude, and you made a fucking fiasco out of that.
All you had to do was sit here and not do anything, and you just couldn't be bothered to do that.
So here's what's gonna happen. You're all fired. You're not allowed to clear out your desk. You're not allowed to go to your quarters and collect your stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to put a report in front of you. You're going to sign it saying that you fucked up really fucking bad, and you're not allowed to read it because that would waste our time. You're just going to sign it, and you're going to fucking piss off because,
And don't ask to read it because I'm not letting you read it.
Exactly. Like, I've seen a lot of corporate security fuck-ups, but you guys just take the fucking cake.
You take the cake. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
This is pretty much an episode of The Office in here. What are you guys doing?
Congratulations. You're all fired. ISB is responsible for this system security from now on.
Also, Deputy Tryhard, go to your fucking mother's house. Get out of here.
We're not there yet. Hold on. So meanwhile, back
I think
we're getting there.
That's another actor too.
So back on Aldana, Clem and Vel are walking across the Highlands, and Clem is like, "Okay, what the fuck's the deal with Luthen? Because he just showed up and started saying a whole bunch of cryptic shit about how he knows me. Like, what's his deal?" Vel's like, "I am not going to talk about him.
Yeah.
In fact, you're not going to talk about him either. When we get to the camp, that dude does not exist.
Yeah.
Like, if you say anything about him, we're gonna have some serious problems.
I'm just gonna shoot you in the face. So which, by the way, that probably means that no one on her crew knows about him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is like compartmentalization.
Yeah.
In case anyone gets captured, you don't want them to be able to finger too many people. She says, like, so there's a garrison. We're gonna rob the armory at Aldhani Garrison, and like there's an airfield like 52 clicks away. They fly patrols sometimes. Cassian's like, what the? He never mentioned a fucking garrison. And Vel's like, who mentioned a garrison? I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Cassian's like, okay, so you got 7 guys. We got 6 guys. Vel's like, you make 7.
Yeah.
7 guys, and we're gonna take on an entire fucking garrison. Like,
have you not seen Star Wars? This shit works all the time.
Before he can argue too much, like a couple of TIE fighters fly by and they have to like duck behind a rock and cover. And Vel's like, okay, it's fine. They're not going to come back anymore today. Let's just keep going. It's a really long fucking walk. Deidre, Lieutenant Deidre from the ISB.
I love her little briefcase, by the way. She carries this little briefcase around.
So she's back in her office going over the Ferrex report with one of her staff. She's like, hey, they're talking about this stolen box.
Apparently they misspelled Ferrex in the report. Like they were making fun of how bad the report was.
She's like, there's this box. Like I'm cross-referencing that to something that happened in my sector where, you know, this guy named Asian Candor stole a box from us. So like we should, you know, cross-reference and we need to get a copy of that report. So Underling, go to Blevins' office and get a copy of the full report so we can do this. Underling's like, are you sure you don't want to do that? Because like you have a lot more weight around here. And she's like, no, I don't want to rile him up too much. Just go on down there. Just ask really nicely for the report. I'm sure they'll give it to you. You just bring it back.
Her thing was, I thought it was pretty interesting too, where she didn't want to pique his interest.
Yeah.
Which still supports, even though it's the ISB and they're all kind of elite, like badasses, and like experts in the whole like counterintelligence craft.
They
and
still
everything.
have to deal with a lot of office politics.
There's still a lot of like you can't trust the man next to you because everyone's in the end the Empire just wants the Emperor's attention. Yeah. So they'll stab their mothers in the back. It will get them like the next rung of the ladder.
So Luthen's ship pulls into Coruscant. And the droid's like, hey, we're at Coruscant. Luthen's like, great, go land us, do landing protocol, blah, blah, blah. I'll be in my disguise closet.
Yeah.
And he goes in his disguise closet, and he, like, puts on this wig and this fancy suit and, like, his jewelry. And there's a nice scene where he's, like, putting on his smiley, happy face.
Yeah, this is, I love, look, this is why a 40-minute episode is a good fucking idea for Star Wars. Because you have time to develop all the characters in a way that makes you like really care about them, right? And I think this is a scene that would have been on the editing room floor. I think at least a part of it.
Like this is Daddy Skarsgård flexing his acting chops.
Yeah,
you see him go from like rebel recruiter to happy salesman.
Yeah,
and then like
self-effacing old man.
And when he walks out of that, he's right back into like rebel agitator.
Yeah, and it's like the thing what I took from this particular scene was that role that he's playing, the genial, friendly arts dealer, is so much effort for him. And he like as soon as he doesn't need it anymore, he just drops it and goes back to this like because. There's more of this later in a scene, but I have more thoughts about it when we get there.
So Vel and Clem get to the remains of a village and stop and take a break, and like Vel's digging in a cache they dug to pull out like a canteen and some food. Yeah. She's like, yeah, so there used to be like tens of thousands of people living across all these highlands, and like they were here for centuries, and the Empire showed up, and like in 10 years they're all driven into the lowlands, and now they work in shitty factory towns. Yeah. Turns out Aldhani is like too far away from anything, but also too close to anything.
Yeah, it's like anything in central Illinois, pretty much. Everything's 20 minutes away from each other.
Yeah, so it's a great distribution like hub where you can like store things and then send them wherever you need them.
Steve says, Andor, I was so confused. Like, why make a series about the planet? Ewoks, not that interesting. Yeah, not about Andor.
Fair. Lieutenant Dedra goes into Lieutenant Blevins' office, and she's like, hey, you didn't give my guy the Ferrex report. Like, the fuck's up with that? He's like, she's like, well, you see, like the box that was stolen from my sector showed up in your sector, so that gives me jurisdiction. So you should really just give me the full report. Blevins' like, dude, this happened in my sector. You should just fucking butt out. Like, you've been here for less than a year. No one likes you. Like, maybe you should just chill before, someone decides to fucking ruin your career.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't need career advice from you. I need the fucking Ferris report. He's like, I'm not going to give it to you. And she's like, well, that's fine. I'll just go talk to our boss, Major Partagaz, and surely he'll give it to me. So Vel and Cassian keep walking all through the night. We get this shot of this dude with a obviously not AK-47, but it's an AK-47.
Yeah, this was a big thing when the trailer came out, because that guy with the gun is a shot in the trailer, and everyone's like, oh, they put so much like minimum effort because it's just an AK-47. It's like, if you've ever watched Star Wars, you know that all the guns are just World War I guns anyway.
World War II.
Or both. I think there's
generally
some from both.
World War II, but
they're all guns that exist, and it's not that big of a deal. And if you're looking for any little thing to bitch about, you can find any little thing if you try really hard. But
yeah, so this dude is like sleeping, and another person puts a blaster up to him. He's like, "Congratulations, everyone in the camp is dead."
Yeah, the guy that's sleeping is an actor from a particularly gross episode of The Black Mirror. Also a really good episode, but also kind of a disturbing episode.
Yeah,
pretty good actor.
So he's like, the second guy's like, you ever run a fucking Saw Gerrera, you'll fucking get killed for falling asleep on watch, dude. Like, you need to fucking pick this
They
shit
will
up.
bore gullet you.
Yes. They will cut off your head and put it on a pike.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's fine. I'm not going to tell
Bore
Vel.
gullet.
In fact, you're going to tell Vel, because that's her coming over the hill right there. So Vel and Clem show up at the camp, and they're all like, who the fuck is it? Like,
who's the new guy?
Who's this guy?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't tell us you were
Why is he so
him.
handsome?
Vel's like, this is Clem. He's a great shot. He's a great pilot. He's going to help us out. He provides critical redundancy for our plan. And this
he
one
speaks 6 languages.
This one is like, Vel, can I talk to you? Vel's like, before you talk to me, the fucking space goats are escaping from their pen, so you better go fucking fix that. Also, Clem, go get your arm patched up because you're bleeding all over the grass.
Stop bleeding everywhere, Jesus.
Yeah. Like we'll have a strategy meeting. We'll talk about everything. We'll figure it all out. It's gonna be great. Back on Coruscant, former Detective Hardass, because he's no longer a detective because he got fired because he's really bad at his job. He's like walking through the spaceport. He's very clearly not wearing his uniform anymore. He's got these 2 suitcases, and he's just kind of walking around. He goes down an elevator. He walks into an apartment block. Walks up to one door, rings the bell, and like through all of this, like he still has his very like upright posture, and
he's still being a tryhard.
Yeah,
that's what he does.
Still has a stick up his ass, but he rings the doorbell. Door opens. You see an old woman. He's like, "Hello, mother." And his mother immediately fucking slaps him in the face, and then hugs him and starts crying.
Probably the most like, totally get that. Did you the actor that plays his mother, by the way, is Mrs. Fig, from the Harry Potter universe? Yeah.
And like she looks over his shoulder at this random passerby. She's like, "Who the fuck are you looking at? Keep walking."
Yeah, apparently she's from New Jersey too. Yeah.
So like there's obviously some history there, but she pulls him inside, and we cut back.
It's like the Deputy Tryhard would have the kind of face a mother would want to smack first and then hug second. It's so typical.
He clearly did something when he left home.
Yeah, I think he's just an insufferable bastard, probably.
Could be. Back on Aldhani, one of the rebels is like treating Cassian's wound. She's like, "Oh, geez, that's a blaster wound. That's so like we don't have any painkillers."
Yeah, I bet that really hurts.
So I'm just gonna have to like sanitize it and then wrap it up. And
I thought you were about to say I'm just gonna have to sand it. Like, oh,
belt sander.
Oh god.
So while she has her back turned, Cassian like pulls the Quadi signet thing off his neck and stuffs it in his pocket because it's worth a lot and he doesn't want to lose it. Vel is having a meeting with the others, and they're like, "Who the fuck? Like, it's 3 minutes before go time. Like, I can't believe you're bringing this fucking dude." And Vel's like, "It's fine. He comes highly recommended." They're like, "You don't even fucking know him. You're hearing about it from other people. And, like, do you even know this guy? Do you fucking trust him?" And Vel's like, "Look, I'm in charge here, so you all need to shut the fuck up because I do trust him."
Yeah.
Clem is able to do all of your jobs better than any of you. So,
which, by the way, when she says "I trust him," she's absolutely not talking about Cassian. Did you notice that?
I didn't, but it makes sense.
She asks, one of them asks her if or like they talk, and then the way that she says it, she says, "I trust him," and the way that she says it means that she's talking about Daddy Skarsgård and not Cassian, which I thought was a really interesting detail.
So Luthen's cover on Coruscant is that he owns this like antique / art dealer / artifact shop, which seems like it should be questionably legal.
Yes, which is full of crazy shit, by the way.
So a fucking limousine speeder is pulling up, and his assistant Clea says that, oh, hey, Mon Mothma has a new driver. Mm-hmm. And Luthen asks, is he Chandrillan? And she's like, well, presumably.
Yeah, they're like, it's crazy how they're on the job, but they don't like the spy job, but they don't look like they're on the job.
Yeah.
This whole scene, by the way, is fantastic.
It's brilliant. Yeah. So Mon Mothma walks in, and Luthen walks in. He's all smiles, very genial.
An entirely different person than what we've seen before. Yeah.
He's like, hey, you're looking for a gift for your husband. She's like, yes, it's his day of days, which is this thing we do back on Chandrilla.
Yeah, which I think it's really funny. She says, it's one of our many customs on Chandrilla, which is to say, I'm here all the time getting gifts because we're always having some kind of holiday. Wink, wink.
Exactly. Yeah, that's her cover.
Yeah.
So Clea grabs her driver and she's like, "Hey, you want to see these cool coins we got?" He's like, "Dude, I'm fucking poor. I can't afford any of this shit." And she's like, "Well, come on."
Yeah, but you'll notice
like a museum.
You'll notice though when she pulls him over and he gives a lingering look at Mon Mothma. Like this, I better keep my eye.
I mean, he's presumably not just a driver. He's like
he's a spy. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
And not for the Alliance. Like.
Yeah. So Luthen's like, oh, so your husband really loves war shit. So why don't you look at this fucking club?
Look at this phallic thing.
Yeah.
You really
like. Beat the shit out of people with it.
Did you hear what it was?
I did, but I don't remember.
It's a Utapauan cudgel.
Yeah.
And Utapau obviously is one of the planets from Star Wars Episode 3 where Obi and Grievous fight for the last time.
Yeah. So Mon Mothma's like, well, actually, I'm trying to get him to like.
He always tries to stick these in his ass.
Yeah,
we got to get something different.
We got to find something that's not so phallic.
Yeah.
He's like, I got just the thing.
You have something that doesn't look like a sex toy, please.
I have this like weird clay plate thing with like a snake and a goddess, and you'll love it. Let's walk back here and talk really loudly. And now that we're in the back room, we're going to talk in normal voices.
And this shot, by the way, the way they compose the shot is that Daddy Skarsgård is in the like upstage or downstage, and Mon Mothma is closest to the camera, and the camera pans, and when it's on her left side, he's doing the genial, nice guy, and it pans around her body, and the next time you see him, his entire demeanor has dropped, and he's back into spy mode.
Yeah,
it's so fucking brilliant.
A really good actor. So they talk rebellion business. He says like, all right, look, if you can't deliver on what we agreed, you just need to fucking say so that I can, make plans to go around it. Mon Mothma says like, all right, I can do it. It's just getting kind of dangerous. Like the money is there, but I can't move it around as freely.
Yeah.
Because every time I turn around, the Imperials are putting a new spy there.
Everyone's a spy.
Like there's a new person at the Senate every day. Like they changed out all my security. My driver's new. Like I can't.
All my fucking bankers. I don't know who the fuck they are now.
They're all
I had a guy at the bank. He's gone. He's probably dead now.
She's like, I can figure it out. I want to bring in someone new. And he's like, no, absolutely not. We don't need more people.
This was an interesting thing because everyone's talking about today who could possibly be. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, it's Leia. And it's not because, first of all, we know from the new canon that Leia comes to the Resistance a little bit later in life. Like Bail tries to shield her from that as much as possible, while at the same time grooming her for it, which I think is pretty interesting. She probably either means Bail Organa, or if you wanted to get super tinfoil hat, maybe Ahsoka. Probably not Ahsoka. It's probably just Bail. Yeah.
She's like, don't you fucking lecture me about vulnerability and security, bitch. Like, I'm the one most at risk here. I have the most to lose.
Yes, I will be publicly executed.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's probably not Bail Organa either because he was in it at the beginning. Yeah.
Like, I've thought about this. I've weighed the risks. I know what's fucking going on. So Luthen, like, picks up this artifact and, like, leads her out front. And he's back to being all genial and salesman-y. He's like, well, tell you what, you can take this artifact on loan, and if your husband doesn't like it, you can bring it back. And then he goes into this real double meaning lace dialogue saying,
code.
It's a very daring choice, but I trust you to have the courage to turn back if it's a bit much.
Yeah.
And Mon Mothma was like, I appreciate that.
Yeah. She basically winks at him.
Yeah. She's like, well, you'll be here, right? And he's like, well, if I'm not, Clea can find me. And, she wraps up the thing and takes it away. And it's very tense, like the music. And like when she gets into her limo, there's a few shots of her flying away. And she's very
stressed out. Yeah, she's stressed out. Yeah.
Living a double life is hard. So back on Aldhani, this Imperial officer drives up on a speeder bike. And like Cassian's like kind of watching him from the medical tent. And the officer, like, a couple of people go up to meet him, and like they're talking. And all of a sudden, he's like, "They did what? There's who in the camp?" He's like, "You fucking, it's 3 days, and you're bringing in this fucking." They're like, "Yeah, we all said that," and Vel fucking overrode us. He's like, "Vel, what the fuck is this shit?" He's like, "It's not a democracy, bitch. You do what I say."
Yeah.
He's like, "We don't even have enough supplies. We don't have enough comms." Guy in the back is like, "Actually, we have 2 spare comms. Those were our backups." Yeah. He's just
you've messed everything up.
He's so stressed out.
I like how they're like, "Oh, also we're gonna need your belt and your gloves."
Yeah, we have a spare uniform, but we don't have the belt and gloves.
So you're gonna look like a doofus going back, but that's okay.
It's fine though, because like he has to go back before midnight, so you just stroll in when it's dark.
Yeah. Where'd your belt go?
I was driving and it just kind of flew off. So apparently there's an Imperial engineer arriving from Coruscant, which is why the base is all on high alert.
Which caught my attention as well.
Yeah.
But like my first thought was Felicity Jones' dad.
Yeah.
Shit, what's his name?
I don't remember, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my first thought, but it seems like almost too.
What was her name in that movie? Jyn, right?
Jyn Erso. Jyn.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so Mon Mothma gets home to her, Coruscant mansion. She's going through this beautiful townhouse, and her husband is preparing for this gigantic dinner party. She's like, wait, what?
Which, by the way,
what the fuck is this?
Is Shangri-La just really white Japan?
Maybe,
because like her apartment has all of the bonsai trees, and her husband's got like a pseudo top knot with a kimono and shit.
Like when she came in, she took off like this necklace and laid it down in front of this
Galen Erso, by the way.
Galen Erso. Okay. Anyway, so like it's like, yeah, I'm just having a little get together with my old military comrades.
Everyone you, aka everyone you hate. Yeah.
She's like, wait, you invited Sly fucking Moore?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
He's like, nah, don't worry about it. It's fine.
You invited Ochi of Bastoon? What?
It's fine. You don't have to talk to them. Like, you're down at the boring end of the table. All the fun people are going to sit down at this end with me. She's like, oh, they're fun. They fucking closed down a shipping lane and made tens of thousands of people starve to death.
Yeah, they've destroyed...
Your fun friends have destroyed people's lives.
They've destroyed the civilization as we know it. Like, how are they fun?
Does everything have to be so boring and politics with you?
This relationship is weird, by the way.
Yeah, it's
I'm pretty sure my first instinct is he's gonna give her up and she's gonna kill him. I think that's what I would do. Yeah, he doesn't seem like he would be very good at keeping secrets for very long.
So she goes storming off. He's like, I thought you had a present for me, and she's like, yeah, it's getting returned, bitch.
Yeah, shove it up your ass. Well, not this one. Never mind. You can't do it.
It's kind of valuable. Yeah. So Vel and the team go over the plan. They have this this lovingly built model.
It's the kid which, by the way, that's another death I'm kind of predicting, because that one guy is like the sweet one.
Yeah, he's too pure.
Yeah, so he's gonna be dead. But I like how it's like Viserys in House of the Dragon with his like model city and everything. It's
so they're going over this. Like there's this precious sacred Stonehenge thing here, and then there's this giant fucking Imperial garrison that they like dammed up a river to make.
But it's not to scale.
No,
by the way.
And so inside it, and she goes to lift it. He's like, no, I'll do it. This is the very sweet kid. He's like, it's very delicate. The rain soaks the glue, and it's just, so we're gonna go inside. I
totally get it. By the way,
here's the plan. We're going to sneak into the base wearing Imperial uniforms. We're gonna load up the payroll onto this shitty container ship. And we're going to fly it out of there. Cassian's like, wait a second. You want me to fly this shitty container ship? Like, there's an airfield 50 clicks away. Like, they'll be on us in like 9 minutes.
Yeah.
This is a terrible plan. There's no possible way we can do it. It's a suicide run.
Yeah.
They're like, but...
We buried the lead.
In 3 days, there's going to be this massive atmospheric phenomenon where like there's going to be 1,000 meteor showers at once.
This is, by the way,
the track anything.
This thing that they're talking about was in the trailers, I think.
Oh.
There's a shot of him in a ship flying with meteors flying all over the place. So this has to be it.
So we're gonna fly the ship out into that, and no one will be able to track us, and we'll get away clean.
Yeah, they'd be crazy to follow us.
Yeah, like this happens every 3 years without fail, and it's our only chance. So we have like this very definite window.
I like how when they told them this, he was like, "Oh, that's really clever. That's actually a really good idea."
It's a really narrow window, but you know it's Star Wars. Of course they make it work. So Dedra and Blevin are in the ISB like conference room arguing over the report.
The white room, the very, very white room,
with Major Partagas. He's like, "Okay, so I hear what you're saying about this box that was stolen from your district, but like things get stolen and then sold on the black market all the time.
Yeah.
Like, why is this an ISB issue?
Yeah.
It should just go to like criminal law." And Dedra's like, "Well, there's been a pattern of a whole bunch of these types of thefts, same modus operandi, same objectives."
She's onto it.
Yeah, she's onto something here, and she's like, I have this hunch that this is happening." He's like, "You have a hunch." Dear, that's so adorable.
Yeah.
I know you used to be a cop, but at the ISB, we don't work on hunches. We work on data.
Yeah.
So until you have like definitive data that definitely proves this is like something you
or at least
should be
something
working
better
on,
than just a hunch.
Yeah. You can get the fuck out. Lieutenant Blevin, thank you very much for turning in your paperwork on time. You're making my job very easy.
He's such a fucking brown noser, by the way.
So he's like, "Okay, Dedra, I need you to like you're doing literally a third of the work he is, and he's doing it way better than you. So you need to fucking step your shit up and get your reports in on time, because you know he's already done with his and you aren't, despite only 2 sectors. Like seriously, only 2 sectors. Come on, Dedra, step it up."
Yeah, actually, this conversation he has with her is actually really neat, because he's like, "You know why I want you here." And the subtext I read into it was that she was a woman, right?
Really?
And it was like, I wanted someone like you here, and you're really brilliant, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but you need to put in the time. That way, if you're not going to help anyone by fucking this up, pretty much. But you've got it in you to make it big. So keep your head down, do your work, and make me proud, pretty much. And then immediately is like, "Oh, and I love how many people you arrested last quarter. That's fucking great. Keep it up."
Great.
By the way, Jimmy Slymore was never a Jedi.
So back on Aldana, they're at the camp. It's nighttime. They're sitting around the campfire eating their food. One of the rebels gives Clem an iPad loaded with. He's like, "All right, so you know how to use an iPad, right?" And Cassian's like,
"Here's Rosetta
yes,
Stone."
Of course I do.
Yeah.
All right, so these are the specs on the freighter, and then a map of the garrison, and an Aldani phrase book so that you can blend in. Cassian's like, "Can I eat?
I had to learn a whole language overnight. What the fuck?
Can I finish my fucking food?" And she's like, and Vel's like, "All right, you're gonna eat. You're gonna get your blaster wound looked at, and then you're gonna have all that memorized by tomorrow."
Yeah.
And Cassian's like, "That's a lot of fucking homework." And Vel's like, "Yeah, I'm the boss. Do it." And that's the episode.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. This is really the whole thing is really cool. This show has exceeded every expectation I've had for it. Which is really great. Let's go over a quick list of Easter eggs.
There's a bunch.
Yeah.
Chandrilla itself is an Easter egg.
Yes. Though I think they've mentioned that before in the new canon. But yes.
Was it in fucking Bad Batch? Or am I thinking
it might have been in the new canon. It was the first location for the New Republic capital before they started moving it around and everything.
I just remember Chandrilla because there was a mission in Jedi Academy based on Chandrilla.
Yes, and there's a Rogue Squadron 64 mission on Chandrilla too.
They talked about kyber crystals, of course, the Kuat thing, the Rakatans we talked about.
There's a little Saw Gerrera and his partisans thing. The one I was a little surprised you didn't catch was his conflict on Mimban, which is the conflict that Han Solo is in Solo: A Star Wars Story.
Oh, right. Yeah.
In fact,
in the mud.
they might have even run into each other because it sounds like they were a part of the same conflict. Let's see. Oh yeah, so they mention Arvala 6 during their conference meeting. The ISB guys. And we don't know what Arvala 6 is, but Arvala 7 is the planet where Din Djarin finds Grogu.
Oh.
They name dropped Scarif a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This guy says there's
they
in Korea.
mentioned there's a bunch of people going to Scarif.
Right.
They mentioned Ryloth, but I don't know if that's an Easter egg so much as it's just a place.
Yeah, I would count it as an Easter egg. And then we talked about the Quadi Signet and the Rakatans. The Starkiller's Sith armor is in fucking the guy's shop.
Really?
Yeah. And it's not like one of those things where if you squint a little bit and look at it sideways, it kind of looks like Starkiller's armor. It is literally his armor. Yeah, it's really there. Okay, so I saw a bunch of shit in there. There's Starkiller's armor. There's what appears to be Plo Koon's mask. Which he like the Keldor, that whole species had masks. Yeah, so it isn't necessarily his. There are what appear to be a Jedi and a Sith holocron in his back room.
That's concerning.
Yeah, there's some Beskar armor in the front room, and there are some murals, some like rock murals, that are, I guess, what's a good word? Representing the world between worlds and the what is that Clone Wars episode where they talk to the mother and the father or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have no clue.
I would have to look into it because I can't remember exactly what it's called, but they pretty much go to like these beings that are like the Force. It's a little weird. It's a Dave Filoni like like heavy lore thing.
Yeah.
And there's some artwork about that stuff in there too. And obviously the Utapau and Kajal is, we know about Utapau. And the dinner guest list, Sly Moore, who Jimmy asks if she is the bald lady from episode 2, was not a Jedi. Is just an Imperial lackey who really wants to grab Palpatine's attention. Joseph says this episode is great, and so are you guys. I miss the Starkiller armor. Yeah, it's actually in a really really obvious position. When we do the Battlefront stream, I'll see if I can't pull it up and we can look at it real quick. I can't remember the name of the episode. I can't remember it either. Yeah, the father and the daughter and the son. Yeah, from Clone Wars. I've only seen that one twice, I think, but it's been a while ago. Yeah. So yeah, that's more or less everything. And we're not going to have time to talk about House of the Dragon, so we'll talk about it during our Battlefront stream, which is going to be happening here in just a few minutes. So thank you so much for joining us today, talking about Andor. We will be here same time, same place next week. So make sure you watch the episode first. Come and hang out with us.